Welcome back to In Conversation as we continue to break down the budget debates. We just looked at a fiery presentation in the House, and it was the first presentation for our MP. Don't beat me for calling the name wrong, but Mr. Saiku Andrews with the X at the end.
Yes.
Welcome to In Conversation.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, we just watched a very inspiring, fiery presentation by you in the House. And I mean, I felt like you were hitting everything on this budget, especially on you're looking at the public work sector. And you started out by making the statement that, this budget seems to be sandstone and cement because it's all about, yes, the infrastructure, but you went into details to deal with the comparison as you talk about projects and best, and you made those comparisons. Let's rehearse that for the people.
Well, listen, Shanika. In my mind, this budget is sandstone and cement. It's more than 50% of the budget goes to capital expenditure. And there's no way that your intention is putting people first, and there's no significant diversion of resources to uplifting your people out of poverty. So, for me, it's a budget that is more of the same. At the end of the day, the value goes down the drain. It doesn't go to the people. And so this government talked about, when it comes to infrastructure, they use the word transformational. But transformational infrastructure is not vision. It's not deciding in your mind that, you know what, you need a bridge. You have to be able to have value for money. The lowest possible cost, the best quality. It must withstand the test of time in service to people. It must be able to withstand adversity because life, seasons change and infrastructure must stand up. And when it comes to this PPP, you have to be able to compare them with the PNC because the PNC, under the leadership of LFS Burnham, delivered what is truly transformational infrastructure to the benefits. And so we had to go there and make that comparison.
I mean, when you brought what I think Guyanese are now thinking in their head, you had 58 years of use of the Linden Foods like highway.
Yes.
That was created 58 years ago. And now you are doing repairs. You have acknowledged the transformation.
Now it needs repair after 58 years.
So, as you rightfully said, that is transformational. Not when you just do some part or some road and 2 months later, you have to do corrective work.
Exactly. And you know why it is transformative? Because we spent 17 million US in 1969 to build the Linden Suzac Highway. At today's value, that is only $122 million.
Wow.
The Mandela to Eccles, the Mandela bypass, which is going to hit Suze Dike, is already 300 and something million US dollar. So at the end of the day, when infrastructure lasts and it's durable, the people get the value over time.
And you hit that home over and over because you have the examples. You talked about the Demerara Harbor Bridge.
Yes.
The Kanji Bridge. These are things that were built decades ago that is still serving. One recently decommissioned, but it served way over the lifespan that was given to it.
But Shanika, is not only that it over delivered, it is still an asset that this very government says they're going to use to bridge other parts of the country. So think about the value of spending $17 million almost 58 years ago. Which project can the PPP point to? I know, I mean, in my speech, I didn't get to put this up. Which project can the PPP point to? Which road project that lasts 20 years? They've been in government for 28 years. Which project they have that stood the test of time for 20 years?
And when you said it is not only the roads that need rehabilitation, but it is the mindset.
Of
I
the,
think,
yeah,
listen, the floor went silent when you give these examples. I mean, we heard them starting to, rile up. But when these points begin to hit, there was silence on the floor because how do they respond to
you
that?
cannot counteract facts. You understand? You cannot. The mindset needs to be rehabilitated. From build, you said build, break, and rehabilitate to build to last.
You went down showing, the phases for this highway that is being built and the fact that there were plans there all along of how it could have been done. But instead of them going through with that,
Yeah.
they do their own thing, they throw a scheme here, then now they know, oh shoot, we still got bill it.
Yeah.
And you talked about, the way the road will have to be now.
Yeah.
You described it eloquently.
It's like a
So,
right out of an amusement park.
yes, to have it done. But the point that you were making of you have reputable companies
Yeah.
who would have applied,
Yeah.
they gone through the process, knowing everything how it's done, and the government choose to ignore
Yeah.
that contractor and went for one that was higher.
Yeah,
Yes.
they went for multiple contractors that end up costing us
Much more.
$52.5 billion. But like I said, this is a reputable company that we already have billing the Ogle bypass route. They're billing at phase 2 over a 3 to 4 year period, and the price per kilometer remains the same with that company. That very company, they were awarded lot 1. Of that Mandela bypass route. You know how much it came into? It came up to 25% less than the engineers estimate. Overall, we would have saved 11.5 million US dollars if we had chosen that company.
And then you giving the example of what that 11 million could be
Yes.
used for. And I think you bring over the point that many of our MPs have been trying to make. And when people, even the PPP comes out and they say, y'all are talking about how much you can give to the people here, but where are you going to find it?
That's where you find the money. That is where you find the money. You be prudent managers. Be fiscally responsible. Examine the costs. Competitively, you tender these projects so that the price, and then that 11.5 million US dollars can give old age pensioners 25,000 for 5 years.
And you didn't get to hit in much on the talks of public utility. I know that you intended to speak on that, but I'll give you the opportunity here, to get into some of the stuff that you wanted to talk about in that regard, because these topics are important. We know the time is limited, but what do you want to bring out in the sense of public utility for the public to understand what we're seeing in this budget?
At the end of the day, like I said, it's more the same as value down the drain. I'm just giving examples of how we waste money. Like, for instance, let us look at GPL. When the Honorable Minister came into power, he condemned in 2020, he condemned the decision of the APNU government to buy generators, to spend $50 million in generators. He condemned that. But those generators came back to save us. GPL did not follow that pattern, that logic, that reasoning of planning ahead. And so guess where they end up? They end up buying generators, but it came too late and too old. They bought 18 reused generators from Honduras. And when they got caught in a rock and a hard place, guess what they did? They rented 2 power ships. And at the end of the day, if you look, I have the data right here. I have the information right here. The power ships, because there's an amount in the budget this year to support the power ships. So what was supposed to be a 2-year contract will extend in 2026. But when it is all said and done, for a 111, right? 111 megawatts of power, it's gonna cost us 40. You understand? 40 billion, 40.4 billion in a nutshell. But when you look at that, at conversion rate, right? You're talking about 192 million US that we are losing as a result of going with this power ship. Now, this is money. This is what this power ship is costing us. At the end of the day, Shanika, we could have buy 2 200 megawatts of power for the kind of money in generator. And we're spending money for generation capacity that we don't own with these power ships. Yeah. But if we had bought those dual fuel generators, we could have sent them throughout the country and use them at a later time. And that would have been our asset. So practically for the last 3 years, we've been wasting money on this power ship, all because of bad planning. So now we have to pay the power company because we don't have the capacity. But this could have all been prevented if the minister had taken the time to not be arrogant, in his politics and just say, you know what, let me admit that the policy of the APNU regarding to GPL and expanding capacity would work and it is more superior. Let me just follow it. But they don't do that. It's just about politics.
Before we wrap up, I want you to go over this again because we hear over and over the minister talking about, the APNU took away the $10,000. And I love how you broke it down in the figures, the reality of what was done.
It's important that we go back to 2015 because that is when the PPP gave the one-off because we gave cash grant. It was valued at $10,000. So when the APNU come in, looked at the program, realized, okay, this is not delivering what we want. So what we're going to do, we're going to revamp this program. So what we're going to do is the 5B. Bus, boat, bicycle, transportation. That is transportation. And then we have the books and the breakfast. So I was doing the calculation that modestly, $100 to go, $100 to come, and some students have to catch 2 buses. But let us go to the minimum. $100 to go, $100 to come 5 days a week, 39 weeks. That is $39,000. On the breakfast side, $400 per meal for 5 days is $2,000. That for 39 weeks is $78,000. Listen, the transportation aspect of the 5B is valued at $39,000 in 2015. The breakfast value of the 5B program is valued at $78,000 in 2015. That works out to $117,000 in value in 2015 as against the PPP's $10,000. What they're talking about pulling back cash grant, we didn't pull back cash grant. We gave the people $107,000 in value more than what the PPP was offering. But I think sometimes what we need to do is just expound on these things and repeat them so that people could realize that in the APNU, in the PNC, it's a group of people who truly at heart cares about them and would sit down for hours and days and weeks and months and years crafting policies and programs that at the end would resound to the benefit and the upliftment of their lives. And one thing I want to say again, the government has to reconcile what they spend and what they deliver.
Yeah, they have to. How do you, I know you keep saying, and you said it coming down to the end as well, sand, stone, and cement. But I want you to give us, outside of the 3 words, because I have been asking persons on the show to give me 3 words. I got your 3 words already. How do you sum up this budget 2026?
There's no other better way to sum it up other than sandstone and cement. And inherent in this budget, if you examine the track record of the PPP government, it announces big projects, they're big spenders, but the returns are very low. So they actually give away money. When you look at Gaisupo, what they produce, what they pay to produce sugar, and what they sell sugar on the world market, it's like transferring the wealth of Guyanese people to foreigners. Because foreigners buy our sugar cheap, but we spend all of that money. So why can't we just, revamp, find a way to spend that money in our economy, you understand, and build an industry that allows your people to benefit for the next 50 years.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, MP Saiku Andrews. It was wonderful sitting down with you. And again, as I said, I really enjoyed your presentation. And I know the viewers did as well. You lit the social media on fire with that presentation. I want to thank our viewers this evening for staying tuned with us today as we covered Budget Day 2. And you will join us tomorrow again as we cover Budget 3, and we will continue to cover speakers and keep you updated. Do have a wonderful evening.